Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesdays. We're glad you're with us today. It's September 20th, 2022. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just put them in the Zoom chat window. For those watching on Facebook, please just enter your questions you have in the comment field. We're monitoring both. We'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. Also, if you'd like to put your contact information in the chat window, I would recommend that everybody here connect with everybody else who's on the call today. It's a great way to expand your connections. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I started a second website just about 10 years ago. It actually was in October of 2012, careerusa.org, to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search. You may not know it is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I tend to always have copies with me. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007. We have a very interesting program coming up this Friday, and I'll tell you about that at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the PIC crew. Remember, your resume and your LinkedIn profile isn't going to get you a job, but what it will do is it'll get you a phone call. How well you practice your interviewing skills, that's what's going to get you your next job. So if you'd like to schedule a free practice interview, just go to dallaspicrew.com and you can get more information there. Well, we have four outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn. They all talk about LinkedIn from a little bit different point of view. I had a conversation yesterday with a new speaker about a networking topic. And I said, it's nice, as you're watching these things, hopefully you will go and take away one or two things and do it this week. And then next week you'll come back and you'll hear the next speaker and you take one or two things away. And, you're not going to be able to do everything Ruth's going to mention in the next 60 minutes. You're not going to capture or remember, but if you just take away a couple of things and do it and implement it this week, that's all we ask. So this week, Ruth Lipsky is with us. She's a career coach. She works at Lee Heck Harrison. She's going to talk about how to drive recruiters to your LinkedIn profile. So Ruth, thank you very much for being with us today.
My pleasure. And thank you so much for coordinating this, because there's a lot of information out there on every one of the topics that we're looking at. This is just going to be one more opportunity to find possibly some things that you might not have known about LinkedIn and might be able to help you on your job search. So let's take a look at how we're going to get recruiters to look at your LinkedIn profile. And you've got two reasons to have a LinkedIn profile. One is if a recruiter is holding on to your resume because you applied through the company website, they want to take a look at more information about you, and they will go to your LinkedIn profile in hopes of seeing more than just that subset of experiences and skills that you sent into them. But the other reason that you have a LinkedIn profile is because more and more recruiters are bypassing the idea of posting a job on multiple job boards, because that's costly and time consuming. And they'll go directly to LinkedIn, type in information about the titles and skills that they're looking for, and they get a wealth of information back. A lot of people who would be able to step into those jobs, or at least interview for them. So doing a search on LinkedIn is a fast way to bring in talent into an organization. And your goal is to ensure that you have the strongest profile possible so that you can be found by the recruiters. And before we get into too much detail, let's make sure everybody realizes that LinkedIn calculates a score for your profile every day. And the score is based on the activity that you have and the completeness of your profile. So it's going to take a look at the content. Did you fill in as much as possible? How many connections do you have for the type of role that you're looking at? Do you have information in the interest area on companies you're interested in? Are you doing job searches? Are you networking to find other people? And then when you're on the home page, are you commenting on the articles that are appearing there? The more activity you have, the higher your score is going to be. And as soon as you stop having activity on LinkedIn, your score starts dropping. So recommendation at this point, 3 to 4 times each week, you need to do something on LinkedIn. It can either be a comment on the homepage, it can be the addition of a skill, it can be a search for a job, it can be a connection request that is being made. But 3 to 4 times a week, you need to have some activity in order for LinkedIn to keep your profile score high. They're never going to tell you what your score is. That's not something that they will ever let you see, nor will they tell you what the point value is for any of the actions that you take. But we know that not all actions are equal. So if you're on the home page and you decide to comment on someone's post, putting in a thanks for sharing is 3 words. You get credit for continuing a conversation, but you don't get a lot of credit for that. If you had a response to a post that was at least 8 words long, you would get the maximum number of points available for posting comments. So making sure that you are as active as possible and that you use all of the skills that you know of are going to help you out there. So LinkedIn's not going to tell you about the point value. It is going to be looking for, are you engaging? Are you talking to other people? Are you using LinkedIn as a tool for your job search? So when a recruiter is doing a search on the LinkedIn Recruiter software, it's going to be putting in some basic information. So in this case, they're looking for a project manager in the greater Chicago area. And they've just got 2 skills listed here, business strategy and analytics. What comes up are nearly 43,000 candidates who match that profile closely enough that they could be considered by the recruiter to fit this job. So now the recruiter starts using the spotlight features. And the spotlight features are the area up at the top here where the recruiter can say, are you open to new opportunities? Do you have connections to my company? Are you engaged in my talent brand? Are you likely to respond? Are you a past applicant? All of those are going to figure into the worth that that recruiter is putting on you. Now, having a company connection simply means that you have a person within that company that you're a first-degree connection to. Engaged in the talent brand means that you're following that company so that the information that that company posts on LinkedIn is going to appear on your homepage. And that company is going to appear in your interest area. The likely to respond, that's another one of those areas that LinkedIn calculates a number for you, but does not let you know it. So on the message center, if a recruiter contacts you and says, we have a project manager job in the greater Chicago area, it looks like you've got the skills that we're looking for. Would you like to set up some time to hear more about this job? If you ignore that because you're not interested in it, then your score starts going down. If you respond to every recruiter by either saying, yes, I'm interested, or no, I'm not interested in Chicago, or no, I'm not interested in that industry, best of luck in your search, then your score goes up. Recruiters are more likely to look for people who are engaged in LinkedIn because they don't want to send out a bunch of messages to people and crickets in return. So always respond to a recruiter. Now on your message center, you're going to get requests from other people too who might be trying to sell you things. You can ignore those. That's okay. But if it's a recruiter that seems to have a legitimate job, please at least respond to them with a yes or no. Now, if you notice that of these 42,798 people, these 3 people came in at the top of the list. LinkedIn does not do anything randomly. There's a reason that these people came up at the top of the list, and LinkedIn is telling the recruiter that these folks are the most worthy of consideration. Some of it is because the spotlight features are strong. This person has 2 company connections, they're a company follower, and they are open to new opportunities. That's 3 out of the 5 that we have over here is your spotlight features. Person in the second place on the list also has some of the features that are interesting to a recruiter and are used as the spotlight. So the more you are active on LinkedIn, finding the companies that you want to belong to eventually, connecting with the people, connecting with the company, the higher you're going to be on these searches. And the recruiter is probably going to go down through 100, maybe 150 of these in order to pick out the folks that they want to be able to contact. And in order to do that, they'll click on the person's name and get into their profile to see more information. But notice how little information LinkedIn is giving these recruiters. They're giving them the headshot, the name, the headline area, what the current job is, and what the past 2 or 3 titles are. That doesn't give the recruiter a lot to go on. So we're going to be talking a bit about this headline area because LinkedIn has recently expanded this area to 220 characters. The LinkedIn default is going to be your current job at your current company, but it allows you to put in anything you want in that headline area. And you need to put in enough information so that when a recruiter is scrolling down a list of 100 people who fit that qualification, they're going to find you because you're telling them more about what value you bring to the company. So let's take a look. The LinkedIn algorithm itself actually says that it's more important to have a mutual interest between the recruiter and the candidate than it is to have the title and the skills that the company is looking for. So the first thing to be doing in LinkedIn is to target the companies that seem to be the best fit for you and connect with the company and connect with people within the company. The likely to respond rate, these are all the things that were in the spotlight. Making sure you go back and you respond to recruiters. Don't go back more than 2 months because that apparently is as far back as the calculation goes. But connect to employees, follow the company, make sure that you have the open to work area on, even if it's just for the recruiter to be able to see when they're using the LinkedIn recruiter software. And if you're a past applicant, recruiters like people who have applied for more than one job at a company because they feel that it shows an interest in the company, its product, its culture, and this person will probably fit in better with the company. So if you're looking for a broad range of jobs or a job family, apply to everything. LinkedIn is going to reward you for that. After that mutual interest has been established, then the LinkedIn algorithm is going to take a look at, do you have the titles that seem to be appropriate? Do you have the skills in the areas that seem to be most important? And have you passed any of the quizzes that are associated with the skills? I'll talk about that in just a minute too. So in order to increase your visibility to recruiters, the first thing you're going to want to do is to make sure that your headline gives the recruiter enough information that they know something about you. So normally we would have said that having title is the best way to get recruiter interest. But now we found out that since they have added skills to the title area, being able to talk to the recruiter in the midst of a search is going to be the strongest indication of whether you're high enough up to be able to be considered. So instead of just accountant and senior accountant, here's something to say: increasing productivity in highly regulated industries. Your title is going to be different for the different types of jobs that you may be looking for. So if you're looking for a higher level position, you're going to be looking either at a high level definition of what you do, creating value for business through effective marketing strategies, or in this case, helping the world become more customer centric. that talks about a goal, and that's a strategic goal. It's not a precise type of skill that we're putting in here. But take a look if you are someone who is going to be getting your next job based on a specific skill. Full stack application developer, putting in SQL, JavaScript, the things that are going to be needed in your next job, put them up there. You can also go with something that's a little bit more humorous. I can explain high tech to my mom, introvert living in a department of extroverts. All of those are reasonable things to put in as long as the rest of your profile is strong enough that your skills and your value statements are coming up. So if you have something that is less detailed, like these two bottom ones, make sure your about section is particularly strong because you're going to need to balance out the humor of your headline with the details in your about section. Now, one of the things that the recruiters are looking for when they're looking for specific skills is the ability to pass the skill quiz. LinkedIn used to utilize the number of endorsements you had as a way of measuring the strength of the skill. What they found out was that wasn't necessarily a good indication of whether you were really good at that skill. So for those skills that you have in the tools and the technology section, LinkedIn has created tests. And they're either going to be a technical test, which is going to be a lot of coding, business, all of your Microsoft products, or design, things like iMovie, Adobe Illustrator. If you pass one of these tests, LinkedIn is telling us that you are significantly more likely, up to even more than 20% likely, to be hired for that job because you've proven that you've got that skill. The recruiter doesn't have to guess. So the test itself is going to be 15 to 20 multiple choice questions. It is a timed test. It has to be completed in one session, and you need to be at least 70% accurate in order to pass the test. When you pass the test, you can put this badge, looks like a clipboard with a check in the middle of it, onto your profile so the recruiters can see it easily when they're skimming through your profile. If you do not pass, then nobody sees that. So if you're concerned about taking a test, but you don't want people to know you didn't pass, go ahead and take the test. If you don't pass, you can take the test a couple months later. The badge is only good for 12 months because so many of these tools, so many of these technologies have so many updates that it's hard to say that you have the most recent expertise if you're not including some of the newer features for these. So every year, take the test again. You'll be able to tell as soon as your badge expires there. So the reason this is so important is because on the LinkedIn Recruiter, we said that they were looking for the job title, the location, the skills. LinkedIn has recently added the ability to say, I want to look for people who have passed the skill quiz for the skills that I have listed here. Now, the skills that are listed, only 3 of them deal with tests. The software engineering and the agile development don't have tests associated with them, but JavaScript and Swift and Ruby on Rails, those are tests that are available to you. And the people who came up highest in this category are the ones who passed the tests. This person at the top passed 2 out of 3. So recruiters can actually put in the ability to sort by, I want somebody who's strong in this skill and has proven it by passing the test. If you think your next job is going to need strong technical skills, take the skill quiz. What we have found also is that sometimes in an interview, the screening interview that the recruiter is doing, the recruiter will ask, how strong are you in this skill? And if you say pretty strong, they'll say, go on to LinkedIn. If you pass the test for this skill, give me a call back and we'll schedule an interview. So recruiters are sometimes going back to LinkedIn, letting LinkedIn do the assessment of how strong your skill is, and then allowing the interview to proceed if you pass the test. So check it out. keywords are going to be important in your skill section also. And LinkedIn keeps track of the skills that recruiters are looking for. The hard skills are going to be pretty specific to the type of role that the recruiter is looking for, but the soft skills are the ones that you want to be sure of putting in your profile someplace. If the recruiters are looking for creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, emotional intelligence, you need to have those words in your profile. It doesn't necessarily need to be in your skills section, but if it's not in skills, it needs to be in the about section, or it needs to be in the experience section. If you're looking for a remote job, then recruiters and companies are looking for some self-management skills and putting in these four: active learning, resilience, stress tolerance, and self-motivation are generally the best indicators of being able to work successfully from home. So looking for a remote job or even a hybrid job, you may want to consider adding those in. Once again, not necessarily in the skills section, but in either the about or the experience section. Now, how do you know that you've got the right skills on your profile? LinkedIn has recently added the ability to check what skills you have against the skills they think should be set in your profile for that job. So in this More button that you've got on your profile page, if you open it up, you'll see that you can build a resume based on your LinkedIn profile. As soon as you click Build a Resume, it will open up, select a resume, and you can say, create one from my profile. When you click on that, it opens up a new little box that says, give us a title. Now, this is a title that is going to be one of LinkedIn's titles that they have set up and standardized. So it's not necessarily free form. But if you typed in something like career counselor, in my LinkedIn profile and the resume they created from it, it's saying, I've got all these skills already listed, but here are some skills here that I don't have in my profile that are generally associated with being successful as a career counselor. From this, I can say, I can easily go back and add teamwork. I've done that. Have I done program management? Yep, did that too. So by using this to find the skills, you can make sure that when you have written up where your successes are, what value you bring to the next company, also check and make sure that you've got all the skills that LinkedIn says that people expect to see if you are looking for that job title. And then we're going to want to add more information into your profile so that you have as much information as possible for recruiters to see. So in this case, let's go and take a look. Do we have any questions so far on this information, Jeff? We doing okay?
Repeat your question again.
Are there any questions we need to go through in the chat?
I have not seen anything yet in the chat window.
Okay. Put questions in the chat. Jeff will be checking that as we go along, or just shout out if we need to be looking a little bit more closely at some feature that we didn't get through. So I'm going to take a look at LinkedIn because that's really the easiest way to show what's out there. In general, your background is going to be something more professional. I change mine based on the seasons, but if you've got if you're in the midst of a job search, it probably needs to be a background that's more associated with the type of role you're looking for. Having a good headline, make sure that you're separating your comments with a pipe, the straight up and down thing that's above the enter key, because that is helpful for LinkedIn in their search algorithm. We said that in this More button here, we could go into the Build a Resume, create it from the profile, and putting in a job title. If I put in project manager and applied that, it would say that I have some skills that are associated with that, but I've got a lot of other keywords that are not associated with project management at all. So don't have as strong a match to a project manager as I would to the career coach role that I have. But that's how that one works. If you work on your LinkedIn profile and you're comfortable that you've got titles here, you've got skills here, you've got the information that you feel is appropriate for you, but you're not getting contacted by recruiters, then every 2 months you need to take another look and change things. At the 2-month point, if you're not getting enough profile views, and if you're not showing up in enough search appearances to make it comfortable, then you need to change your headline and you need to change the first paragraph of your about section. Because those are the areas that are generally most visible to recruiters and are going to be the yes or no decisions that a recruiter is going to make on your profile. So every 2 months, if you're not getting the interest, change headline, change first paragraph. In your experience area, one of the problems that recruiters have is that the company gave you a title and not everybody knows what that title means. So you can put in more than one title in your experience area. So in my case, my official title is career consultant, but a lot of companies use career coach. So I'm putting in both, separating them by a pipe to mean that either one of these is an appropriate title for me. I'm honoring the title that is given to me by my company when I'm translating it so other companies can see more clearly what I do. You can do the same thing, but in parentheses, you can put in other job titles that might be completely different from what the company gave you. So in this case, I was a senior manager of training and development, but all of my work for the team was built on moving to online training, e-learning. So in parentheses, I put in 2 titles that I could be considered for, even though I never held those titles. I sure did enough work in those areas that I could accept that role comfortably. So expand out the titles that you have in your experience section so you let the recruiter know, here's what I have as my official title, here's what it might be translated to, or within this role, here are the types of titles that better describe the activity that I had. Now, in the skill section, you're going to make sure that you've got all of your skills in the order that you think is most important. If you need to reorder the skills, you can click on the 3 dots because 3 dots always mean that you're going to be seeing more information. But in this demonstrate skills, that's going to take you into other areas that allow you to take the skill test. You can take any skill test that you want. It's most helpful if you have skill tests that are associated with the job that you're looking at. So I've passed these 3 skill tests. If I took a test that gave me SharePoint as a badge, that's not going to show up unless I add SharePoint to my skills. It'll be in the background and recruiters will be able to see it if they're doing a search, but they won't be able to see it on the set of skills that I have. So take the skill quizzes, but make sure it's a skill that is on your profile so that it's more visible. Now, LinkedIn is going to be very interested in more information about you. And that's why they have a section called Add Profile Section. And in this area, it's going to say, here's the core information. Did you put in your education? Did you put in your position? If you haven't looked at career break, that allows you to put in some information as to why you were without a job for 3 or more months. And quite often it's going to be career transition, but it might be that you're taking care of family, you were doing some travel, you were doing voluntary work. But LinkedIn is trying to give you the ability to say, I wasn't working, and there's a valid reason for me not working. If you wanted to fill out the description area to give more information, you can. Generally, you don't bother. It's nobody's business other than the fact that you've indicated that there's a little bit of a reason for why you're not working during that particular time. And generally, we don't do it for less than 3 months because 3 months is generally a normal gap in between. But if you feel more comfortable putting that in, you do it. Other things are things like in this recommended area, putting in your licenses and certifications are going to be important because quite often those translate to why you're valuable. If you have some licenses and certifications, they're probably associated with the type of role you've got, and you might want to put those in so that recruiters and hiring managers have a better feel for your background. You can also add courses. And when you add a course, you're going to put in a name of it. Quite often, you're not going to have a number associated with it. The association is going to be what job were you in when you added that course. But if you were taking classes at work that were not necessarily required, but here's a class we're giving on difficult conversations. Here's one we're giving on conflict management. Here's on one on how we're doing better performance appraisals. Put that in because that indicates that you're a volunteer learner, that not necessarily because the company required you to do it, but because you felt you would be better in that position by taking that class and learning a little bit more. That's a real statement on your ability to learn more in a new role, in a new company, in a new industry. So add courses if you've taken some that were voluntary, but also add those courses that you had to take. You know, the compliance team sent out courses on an annual basis on here's our privacy, take this test. Here's how we have diversity. Here's how we have anti-bullying. Put those in because those are classes that you took and you passed because those were required for your company. You're acknowledging the importance of the information that was covered in that. And you're also saying that you're willing to take these in the future. So add more courses. Other things that you can be putting in are going to be things like volunteer experience. Companies recognize that they have an obligation to the community to showcase where their money is going, where their time is going to support projects within the community or within the nation if you've got an international company. So being able to put in that you have done volunteer work, whether it be with a religious organization as part of the company that you're in, whatever you want to put in here, volunteer experience quite often translates to you're going to fit into our culture because we like this kind of people. Adding in publications, patents, honors and awards, particularly here in sales, where honors and awards are a big part of the success factor. But putting in projects is going to be an important one too. You can put in a project name of something that would normally be an answer to an interview question. Tell us about a time you overcame adversity. Tell us about a time you were proud of something you did. Tell us about a time you exceeded expectations. Create a project name, put in the information about when it was, but take a look at how big this description area is. It's 2,000 characters. So you can do the full star format, the situation, the tasks, if there were obstacles, who you worked with, what your actions were, what the result was. This gives you the opportunity to put in a lot more keywords and gives you an opportunity of explaining how you go about doing work so that a recruiter is able to see a little bit more closely what to expect when you get into their organization. Quite often, you've got all of your successes in bullet points, and they're maybe a sentence long, maybe they're 2 sentences long. This project area allows you to brag and to expand on how hard it was, what you had to do, and how everything worked out. So adding projects is going to add more information to your profile, and that's very helpful for recruiters and for the LinkedIn algorithm. So things that we can do also in LinkedIn is that we can find the companies that are most important to us. Remember, there were two parts of the company that were in that spotlight area. One is follow the company, and the other is connect with people within the company. So in the chat feature, if somebody can give me the name of a company that they're interested in, or just shout it out.
Slack.
Charles
Slack it is.
Schwab. Charles Schwab.
Let's do Slack, since that one came up first. And with this company, there's going to be a drop down, and you normally pick the drop down because you can recognize the logo on it, the name, the fact that it's technology. Always go to the view page. And this will give you the LinkedIn company page. You can follow it by using the blue follow button. And when you click on that, it's going to add it to the interest area of your profile. But down here, you've got some tabs that gives more information about the company. And one of them is jobs. In the jobs section, it can send you to the company page on the web to look for jobs, but it allows you to create a job alert. And when you create a job alert, you can put in a job title. And it's generally something that's going to be a drop down. And then you're going to put in the location that you're closest to. And then you create a job alert. What that does is that whenever a recruiter posts a job on LinkedIn that has that title or is within that title family, and your profile matches the skills that they're looking for, LinkedIn is going to push that back to the recruiter and say, you just posted this job for a program manager. Here's a list of 15 people who are interested in your company and have the skills to be considered seriously for this job. And recruiters will always take a shortcut like that because they know that LinkedIn has found people who have the skills and you've indicated a mutual interest. You can only have 20 job alerts on LinkedIn, so you'll save some of them for the jobs tab. But if you're seriously interested in a company, go ahead and create a job alert.
Ruth, while you're talking about jobs for a second, Priscilla asked, how many jobs is too many when you're applying to the same company?
There wouldn't be any too many. There's no limit to it, as long as you're qualified for all of those roles. So if they're looking for 5 program managers, and they all have a different number associated with that, which may indicate it's a different position within the company, apply for all of them. But if you then decide that you're going to apply for an administrative assistant role, that's probably not in the same wheel set, the same comfort as the rest of the jobs. Only apply for jobs that you're qualified to do and you want to do for a company. Does that make
Thank you
sense?
very much.
Okay. Let's go into the tab here for people, because when you click on people, LinkedIn is going to give you the number of employees who are currently active at the company and who have a LinkedIn profile. It gives you 2 columns, where they live and where they study. Let's go ahead and show more. And if we wanted to say that we're looking for jobs in the Greater Chicago area, we would click on the 109 people who are in the Greater Chicago area, and here are their tiles. 109 is more than you want to go through. So you're going to use the next button, which is going to give you 2 new columns, what they do and what they study. What they do is what department they're in. So if we say that we're looking for people who are in the IT department, now we only have to look at 6 people who are in the location we're interested in and who work in the department that we're interested in. And it could be that these are the people that we would want to be connecting with. Here's the head of IT. If you're applying for a job within IT, it might be a good idea to be able to connect with this person. Never use a white connect button on this page because that sends the automated message, I'd like to be part of your LinkedIn network. That's worthless. If you're going to connect to somebody, you're clicking on their name or their picture, and you're going to their profile page where you can see the blue connect button. A blue connect button will always allow you to personalize your connect request. And in this case, it's going to be, I am interested in career opportunities in Slack. My background is, my skills are blank, blank, blank. Let's connect. So being able to have a reason to connect is going to be an important part of it. Now, if you still don't have the right people, and let's get rid of the filters we have and go back and look at everybody. This will take us back to where they live, what they do, so the department. And if you click next again, it's going to tell you if you're connected to anybody in the company. If you have a first degree connection in the company, congratulations. That is absolutely perfect. And these days people move around and change jobs enough that sometimes you lose track of where they are. So you might unexpectedly find people in the company that you're most interested in. But if you're looking for second degree connections because you don't have first degree connections, you can click on the folks that are second degree connections. You can filter them by department, by geographic location, or you can just scroll through them as you see fit. But if you find somebody that looks as if they could be a good connection, Vice President of Strategic Operations, then your message to that person is going to be, I see we have people in common in our LinkedIn networks. I'm considering Slack as a career opportunity because of my strong background in strategic operations. Let's connect. Being able to have people within the company that you're connected to is going to be important because once you get that interview, then you can go back to the first degree connections, send them a message and say, just got an interview for this role. Any suggestions on how to do a good interview? What kind of questions to expect? And you might get some real help in those areas. So when you're in this area and you're looking for the company, be sure to follow it, but then take a look at the people and see if they're people that you can connect with. See if they're people who are in the same area, maybe have the same titles, or just put in recruiter. Slack has 160 employees who either currently are recruiters or who at one time had recruiting activity in their background. So you have to sort through and find the people who are still recruiters rather than looking for somebody who had a recruiter 20 years ago. So you want an executive job, there's your executive recruiter, go onto their profile as a second degree connection, see if you connect with them. So connecting with the company by following them, and then find some people that you can connect with. Recruiters are pretty good at connecting because their job is dealing with people. So it's generally an easy thing for them to connect. You might need 2 or 3 of them, but send off as many connect requests as you think are worthwhile. Okay.
All right, we've got another question here before you go to the next thing here. Stephanie asked, how does one search a first connections connection without having to just scroll one by one through your connections? So let's say we're going through all of Ruth's connections. How do you go and search for somebody with a particular subject?
So if I'm going, Jeff, on your profile, am I looking for?
Well, I think what she's saying, I think Stephanie's going on. I have 1,000 connections. How do I go through my 1,000 connections and try to decide who I want to reach out to?
All right, you would be going into your network area and you're going to take a look at your connections. So you've got a lot of connections. And if you wanted to say, do I have any connections of people who are in Slack? Well, I know I don't, but if you wanted, you can search by filters. And you can say, I want to look for people in this location. I want to look for people in this company. So if I wanted to say, I want to find out if I have any first degree connections in Microsoft. I do. I've got 14 people that are first degree connections who work in Microsoft.
So this is almost like searching, just like the job tab. I mean, you have the same filters that you have in any other search. It's just you're searching your personal connections by clicking on My Network.
Exactly. Most of the search features in LinkedIn are going to look very similar regardless of which tab you're on. So being able to go in, and let's take a look at it one more time. You're going into your My Network tab. You're going to be clicking on connections and use the, you probably don't care about the name of the person, but you want to find out more about where are these people as far as their company, and you would use that.
Okay, Stephanie has clarified and she goes, not for her connections. She wants to look at my connections. So why don't you, I mean, can you look at my connections and do the same thing? So can what you click on what 500 plus connections, I guess. There we go.
Right?
So now you're looking at all my connections.
And you can also use the all filters. Now, LinkedIn has limited the number of connections that you can look at from somebody else. So if you wanted to say, does Jeff know anybody at Slack? Yep, nope. Let's remove that. But does he know anybody at Dallas College? Yes, he does. So you can search, but if a person has a lot of people in their network, LinkedIn will not give you everyone. They will just bring it down to, I believe, 200 people is the max they'll allow you to search for. And LinkedIn's not really telling us how they decide which people to give you from a large network.
Great, thank you very much.
Do that. Okay, how about if we take a look at networking through schools? Somebody have a university or a college that they went to?
University of Phoenix.
Okay. University of Phoenix. There you go. And I'm going to view their page. Now, University of Phoenix, we don't care about jobs or job alerts because we're not really looking for jobs there, but we are looking at the people side of it on the alumni. So when you click on alumni, it will show you that there are 823,761 people who have attended the University of Phoenix in the past 122 years and who have LinkedIn profiles. You get similar filters or columns here. Let's open it up and show more. So of this, did any of them go, are any of them working at Slack? Yep, they sure are. So we've got 4 people who are currently working at Slack. These other people who are in companies other than Slack probably work at Slack at some point. So it's on their LinkedIn profile, but they're not current employees. So taking a look at the 4 people who are in the company that we're interested in, now you can connect with these people by saying, I see you also attended University of Phoenix. I enjoyed my time. I am looking at jobs within Slack. How do you like it there? Let's connect. And being able to leverage a university or a school of any sort that shows that you've got something in common with someone is going to give a much stronger ability for them to accept that and give you the opportunity to have somebody within the company that you're connected to, which helps on the recruiter search. It's a great tool to use. And by the way, connect with more schools. People tend to think that the only school that they can connect to are the schools that they attended. If you're paying tuition for somebody, you can follow that school. If you like their football team, follow that school. If your spouse, if your cousin, if your parents, whoever it is that attended the school, and you can follow those. So this is one of those resources that is going to be available to you so that instead of sending out, I also went to the University of Phoenix, you'll say, my spouse attended University of Phoenix, loved it. Got the t-shirt to prove it. Got the mug to prove it. Looking for careers in Slack. How do you like working there? Let's connect. So having some reason to connect with somebody in a school is a much stronger way of connecting, because most people have a lot of trust in the people who attended the same school that they did. The alumni associations are pretty valuable.
Yeah, one of the things that when you were back on Slack, that second column was what college they attended. So that would be a great way. I mean, if you go back to the Slack company Slack channel, yeah, just go to the second one there. And if you page, go to people, where they studied at, right there, very, very powerful, because if your school pops up as the same school, you know, there's a great way. Connect with the alumni, even if they don't live in this area. Just connect with them. Going, I see we went to the same university. You know, let's connect. You know, wherever school you went to, it's a great way just to sort of get yourself in, even if it's not in the same department or whatever. You're just connecting with alumni.
So you can get that information either way. Just wanted to make sure you knew that you could do it. So if you're looking for alumni and you're going to be going through a lot of different companies, go to the alumni page. If you're taking a look on company by company basis, use the second column that's on their front page for employees in order to find people that have an even stronger interest in connecting with you. Good point, Jack. Thanks.
Yeah, Priscilla has a question on adding projects. Can I use my master's RFP project?
Sure. If it's
Can you link a project to a degree?
yeah, let's go back and take a look.
Associated
Yes,
with,
you can. So you can do it
yeah,
with
student. Right.
good. Didn't know that you could do that. Thank you for bringing it up, Priscilla.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a great way, you know, once again, the key about LinkedIn is for recruiters is searches, you know, is keyword searches. So the better keywords you have, matching job titles, matching keywords that they put in on a job search. I mean, that's how they're going to find you, but how you find people is by using these alumni searches, the company searches. Very, very effective.
Okay. Any questions? Oh, let me go to the home page, because we talked about the importance of being active on LinkedIn. You can start your own post by clicking on that and then just deciding what you want to talk about. But if you're not comfortable posting information, see what other people on your page are saying, because LinkedIn is pushing information to this home page based on what title you have, who you're connected with, what companies are in your interest area, and being able to have something that is going to be in a comment. Don't do this like, because that's very much a Facebook type of reaction to a post, and you don't get any credit for it on the score for LinkedIn, or at least we don't think you do. Because LinkedIn's been pretty strong about saying, we're putting it out there, but we really prefer that you use a comment. And when you're in the comment, having a minimum of 8 words is going to boost your score higher, we believe. So activity
Yeah.
on the homepage.
All right, Chris asked a question. Can you create a search for recruiters in a specific industry? Example, energy companies. Would you want to do that, or a Boolean search that would do recruiters, AND energy?
You could do it either way. Let's try and do that.
What does the plus sign do? I've never seen that before.
The plus forces it to be considered in it. It's just another way of saying and.
Okay.
It's more of an exclamation point to it. So you're going to be getting a lot of information through here, but you always want to go back to the companies. And then if you wanted to be able to sort those by industry, LinkedIn has 149 different industries. The ones that will come up here are the ones that have the most on this result list. And it's probably going to be maybe in the staffing and recruiting area. And if you need it to be in one area, generally you're going to narrow it down by continent or by country. And if you want the company size to give you a feel for how big the footprint is, you can do that too.
So if you're not sure what a Boolean search is, it's where you have to add that middle word. Recruiter, capital AND tells the system that it wants you to find the word recruiter and energy in somebody's posting and somebody's result. Both those words have to show up. And you can have multiple Boolean searches, and it's the same search you use on Google, on Bing, on any search window. Anytime there's a search box, Boolean searches work. If you don't know much about them, you can look them up on Google and just type in Boolean search, and it'll tell you how to do it.
And the other thing you can use is the not. So if you wanted to find recruiters who were in the energy business, but were not in the nuclear energy, that might give you a little bit different list.
Right.
So and not are the two biggest on the Boolean searches here.
Melissa, I see you have your hand up. Do you have a question?
I do have a question. First of all, Jeff, thank you for the tip you gave me on Monday. I'm going to recirculate it here. But first, Ruth, thank you for the incredibly helpful suggestions and tips that I've learned so much. I love your fall banner. I love fall in general, but love your fall banner. The question I have is, I had a role and the title is, say, Director of Marketing, as an example. The scope of the role was really broad, and typically it's a senior director role. And when I left, they did up level it to senior director. So my question to you is, earlier in this presentation, you showed 2 examples of where you could use alternative titles. You used the pipe, and then you also used in parens. Would this be when I could use that, and would there be a preference towards using the pipe or in parens? Or should I not do it that way at all? What are your suggestions?
Most of the time when a recruiter is doing a search, they're going to be looking for a level up and a level below whatever title they're looking for, because they know the companies have an incredibly broad range of when should this be a vice president, when should this be a director. You can put it in parentheses. So putting in, you may have been a director, but in parentheses, put in AVP and then put the full title that you would have. So they know that it was really on the cusp of being in a higher profile. So parentheses would be a good one for that, and I'd go ahead and put that in.
Thank you so much. I just wasn't sure if it was the pipeline or the parens. Jeff had suggested putting it something similar. I just wanted to make sure I knew which way to go. So thank you.
Bet.
I think either way works. Both of them are good. I just, the point here is it's keyword search. It's number one, if they were to type that keyword in senior director, and you put in parentheses, a senior director role or senior director responsibilities, that would still come up in the search. And then that's the important thing, is to let somebody know what it is you do and make it easier for them to find you.
And that's why I wanted to make sure I included it. So thank you.
Yeah.
And Jeff brings up a good point. You're going to be listening to a lot of people talking about LinkedIn. There are no hard and fast rules of LinkedIn. One of the speakers on Tuesday might prefer a different type of about section, of headline. Take in all the information you possibly can and then make the decision that you're most comfortable with.
Right. There's no right or wrong. So
So true.
that's all right. Well, Ruth, thank you very, very much. I know we're at the top of the hour here, and I know there are a few people already starting to drop off. If you want to connect with Ruth, this is her old banner, so she's changed it to fall. I haven't updated, but that's her old banner. You're welcome to connect with her. If you want to connect with Ruth, be sure to send her a personal connection. Very, very important. Next week, our speaker is going to be Kurt Vondermatter. He's going to talk about LinkedIn from a recruiter's eye. Kurt is a retained search consultant. He gets paid big bucks by a company to go find a specific person, usually a high-level executive. So he'll actually show us what the recruiting package looks like, what he pays mega bucks for to LinkedIn on how he uses that. So please join us again next Tuesday. Okay, I need everybody to please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. Very, very important. Just send that personal note. I get connection requests every day. And if somebody doesn't send me that connection, tell me why we should connect, I won't connect with you. You just land up in my ignore pile. So whenever you see that white connect button, do not click on the white connect button. Click on that person's face and look for that blue connect button. You can always send a personal note on the blue connect button. If you happen to see somebody's profile and it says follow and you don't see the blue connect button, don't click on follow. But if you click on more in the drop down, you'll find it says send a connection, be able to connect, and it always allows you to send that personal note. Career DFW, Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Please join us tomorrow, Interviewing Wednesday. We do not have a candidate, so we will be showing one of the 13-part workshop lessons. I'm not sure which one yet. I think video interviewing, but I don't remember for sure. So join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock. This Thursday, being the 4th Thursday of the month, Terry Gofarb will be with us to present networking strategies to manage your career. It's a great presentation. Networking's networking. It's getting out and talking to people. And, you find these people on LinkedIn. What do you do? How do you network with them? So join us this Thursday. Hopefully you'll pick up a few tricks. And then this Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting at 9:30 Central Time in the morning, the psychological impact of unemployment. Being unemployed is tough. It's tough on all of us. It's tough on your significant others. It's just very, very difficult. You're stressed. You're under a lot of pressure. You feel like you're just, maybe you're not a winner, that, maybe you're a loser or whatever. You're not. Listen, everybody's going to get laid off at some point. Those people who've never been laid off, they will get laid off one day, and they'll realize what you and I are having to put up with. So join us this Friday morning. It's a very interesting thing. We're now meeting in person. If you'd like to come join us, if you join our mailing list, you'll get the details on how you can join us in person, or we will be online. If you'd like to join the Career DFW LinkedIn groups, you're welcome to join the Career DFW or Career USA groups. Both groups are available. You do not have to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But if you join the Career DFW group, you're going to join over 14,000 people will become your new connections that you can reach out to. So join one, join both. You're welcome to do so. This session has been recorded. It is going to be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. If you follow us on Facebook, Every time we go live, your phone will give you a little buzz. It'll say we're broadcasting live, and you can watch our thing there. We had a few people watching today. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, we'd really appreciate it. We'd love to get up to 1,000 people watching us, because it moves us to the next level. We're at like close to 700, I think, right now, who follow us. When we do post a new video, this video will be posted in a couple hours. You get a little alert saying that a new video has been posted that you can go back and watch. On the Career USA YouTube channel, it looks like this. Click on playlist. We've got over 400 videos on the channel. Click on playlist. I have 7 different playlists that I've put together. Every video that gets uploaded to one of those playlists. And then when you click on that view full playlist, up will come a list with the date, current date on top, who the speaker was, and what the title was. You can go back and watch. So please join us or subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can go back and watch those anytime at your convenience. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you'd like to join the Career USA mailing list, if you do so, just send an email to Career USA, +subscribe at groups.io. You will never be spammed, but what you will get is the topic of the day, the title of the day, and most importantly, the Zoom link of the day. That way you can grab your lunch, grab your cup of coffee, grab your afternoon snack, your breakfast on Friday morning, and just join. Click on the open email, click on the link, and we'll be there. So please remember, Career FW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have no full or part-time employees. All of our speakers are volunteers. Everything I've done over the last 14 years has been a volunteer. I don't get paid to do this. This is my little charity to help you land your next great job. So thank you very much for joining us today, everybody. Have a great Tuesday, and hopefully we'll see you later in the week.